Hi there, my name is Scott Patterson, and I'm just doing this little course for you guys to shed some light on outdoor kitchen builds. I've worked for many years now with a very successful company building outdoor kitchens, outdoor entertainment areas, outdoor rooms, and I kind of get a lot of questions from people all regards to the same kind of subjects, and I thought I'd do some videos to put together a little training module to hopefully help you out. So this is for mainly people who are involved in outdoor kitchen builds, like landscapers, designers, architects, garden designers. So it's aimed mainly at those kinds of people, but also this may be very helpful if you're looking to do an outdoor kitchen build for yourself as a DIY project at your home, and maybe this will help give you some ideas and inspiration on how to go about that properly, because I've seen some really bad projects, I've seen some horror stories, and I've seen people do it the wrong way. And another reason I'm doing these videos as well is because there's a huge amount of information out there on outdoor kitchen builds from across the world, from our friends over in the USA and in Australia, but they don't really reflect the design and build process that we have to take on in the UK. The different types of materials, it's very confusing, measurements, that kind of thing. They don't really reflect our build methods in the UK, and it can be very confusing, and I see a lot of people making big mistakes because they've assumed that, from a video that's been made in the USA or Australia, that those types of materials can be used in the UK successfully, and that's not always the case. I see a lot of subframes that are rotting into the ground and seeing materials blow up in the frost that we get here in the UK. So yeah, it's a bit of a minefield, and if you're spending a lot of money, or your client's spending a lot of money, you don't want to be getting it wrong. You want it to be done right the first time. So in a nutshell, without me rambling on too much, this is a first module that I've just put out there, put together. This is very ad hoc and off the cuff. I've put it out in a slideshow presentation for you, and it's outdoor kitchen functional layout plans. So this is a little guide on, and it's not the gospel, it's not the be all and end all, but it's part of our experience, the company I've worked in for several years now. The kind of process that we go through when we're trying to put together the function of an outdoor kitchen and how to lay it out with the use in mind, rather than it just being aesthetic, or just rushing in and thinking, right, we just need to make an outdoor kitchen, this customer wants one, and you just throw it all together, and then they're not happy down the line because it's not very functional, they can't use it to its full potential, and that's a bad thing. So I think with just spending a bit of time working out how you're going to use your outdoor kitchen is very important. So let me know if you find this video useful, and I'll make some more. Let me know the topics and subjects that you'd like to find out a bit more about, but I'm just throwing this one out there just to help you guys out and to get a feel for this. Really, it's been a while. In a previous life, I used to be a producer and a video producer, and also a trainer. So I like doing this, so don't worry about asking me whether I want to do some more. I'm happy to do them. Just let me know the subjects on this outdoor kitchen build area, and I'll make some videos for you. So yeah, without further ado, we'll get into it, but I just wanted to show you, just before we start, also a few of the projects that we've been working on over the years. This is our sample portfolio. As you can see, I'm not just making it up. We do excellent work. This is a kind of typical outdoor kitchen that we do. Granite work surfaces, underlit counters, porcelain finish, top of the range barbecue equipment, breakfast bars. This is kind of what I've been working on for years now. We've done some very traditional looking ones, like this nice pizza oven in a corner area here. We've done ones for a lot of this is a very large luxury home builders called Royalton Homes. We do a bit of work for them, and this is a very fully loaded modern kitchen in a beautiful house in Surrey. We've done some modest ones, some little ones, little rendered finish with some cupboard space, and we'll talk about cupboard space and that sort of thing in a moment. And then we've done lots of stainless steel modular ones. This is all bespoke work to order for our clients and for shows as well. Very nice there. That was Chelsea Flower Show. We've won awards at Chelsea Flower Show for our outdoor kitchen displays. This is one that's kind of as far as you can push the envelope. This was a fully loaded outdoor kitchen with a specialist louvered roof system that we do. This kitchen was in excess of £60,000. So, you know, if you're looking to see whether outdoor kitchens are a viable place for you to make more profit as a garden designer, then, you know, there's definitely people out there spending the money. So that's enough about me. That's enough about me showing off. If ever you want to see some more, just get in touch. But let's get into the training. So what do we have here? Let's press present. Okay, so outdoor kitchen functional layout plans. Bit of a mouthful, but it's the simple steps to avoiding common mistakes when designing the function into an outdoor kitchen. And that's by me, Scott Patterson. And if you do want to get in touch with me, you can find me on LinkedIn. This is my LinkedIn address. So that's linkedin.com/in/Patterson Scott. That's Patterson with 1 T, Scott with 2. Or you can just email me. My personal email address is scottandrewpatterson@gmail.com. So yeah, by all means, get in touch if you have any questions about this. So this is the module contents. So we'll be looking at, number 1 is the types of work areas and zones. Number 2 is recommendations for passing space. Number 3 is recommendations for counter space. And number 4 is the 4 main sizes of outdoor kitchens. It's very important. The kitchen work triangle. Number 6, the big 5 layout shapes for outdoor kitchens. Number 7, working out landing areas. Number 8, you'll be working out storage space. And number 9, how to work out seating space. So here we go. Work areas and zones. The main 4 functional zones are hot zones, cold zones, wet zones and dry zones. Okay, so if you want to note these down, also you can get in touch. I can send you these this PowerPoint as a slideshow as well if you like. But yeah, just grab a notepad, note these down. So your 4 functional zones are a hot zone, cold zones, wet zones and dry zones. So let's find out a bit more about those. The hot zones, they are the main grill units and smokers, burners, hobs, planchas, wood-fired ovens, you know, anything that's the main appliance that's going to be getting hot. You know, it's common sense, but it needs clarifying. So as we've got down here, it says this zone is the most important consideration for all outdoor kitchen designs. For obvious reasons, all you need to consider is the fuels, natural or main supply, gas cylinder, charcoal, wood. So yeah, so you're going to get this from your clients, or if you're building this yourself, you're going to have an idea of what you're going to want. But yeah, the kind of the main options, and I'm pretty sure there's not too many other options, is natural gas, which is referred to as what most people call mains. So now it's getting a lot more popular that people want to pipe gas from the house into the patio, so that they don't have to change cylinders. But the other considerations are gas cylinders, or if people want to do cook with charcoal or wood. All right, so yeah, pretty straightforward, that one. So you've got to think about your hot zones. So then opposite to hot zones, you've got cold zones. So that includes anything to do with refrigerators, freezers, wine chillers, drinks, bars, etc. This zone is where the party's at. This zone gets a lot of footfall from guests, and it also needs electrical feed and a well thought out power points. So yeah, so quite often it's easy to try and tuck the fridge away next to or underneath another appliance, and you got to think the fridge actually gets a huge amount of use backwards and forwards. And if you've got guests round and they're trying to get, you know, their drinks out from somewhere, you know, you don't want to have them keep on top of you while you're trying to grill something. You know, you're going to get a bit of a messy kitchen, and you're going to get frustrated. So yeah, it's very important to think about these cold zones. It's one of the ones that gets used just as much as the grill or barbecue or wood-fired oven. Wet zones. So we've got sinks and taps, bar caddies, ice reservoirs, beverage tubs, buckets, you name it. There's loads of different types of wet zones. Could be different shapes and sizes for different functions of people, but similar to cold zones, you need to consider plumbing, water usage, drainage waste, and slippery surfaces. So yeah, we've had quite a few clients in the past who have planned everything in, gone gun-ho and got their landscapers in, built everything in, got all the paving done, got their gas in, got their electric, and then we're talking about them having a sink, and they go, crap, we forgot to get our wastes plumbed in. So, that makes it very difficult, or very costly, should I say, to be able to redo that work and get waste in again. So yeah, very important. Think about wet zones. If you're going to have an outdoor sink and tap, really plan that out well. Think about it, and think about where that's going to be as well, not to cause danger, slippery surfaces. Okay, the opposite, dry zones. So dry zones are prep areas, counter islands, cabinet drawers, log storage. This zone is the most overlooked, and it's always the one that kind of gets pushed out as well when it comes to budgets. It is essential for practical long-term use and enjoyment of an alfresco kitchen. Yeah, I can't stress that enough. I'm a real keen cook, and I love using outdoor kitchens and cooking outdoors. It's one of my biggest passions, obviously, because I'm in the job as well. But it is a pain in the backside when you've got to put things on the floor, pick them up. You've not got enough room to store everything. You've got also kind of raw food with cooked food, and because you're piling it all up on a small little countertop and there's no room to put anything anywhere, it's a nightmare. So yeah, dry zones are really important, and making sure everything can be stored away at the end, so you're not ruining your logs for next time you use your wood-fired oven, or you're not wasting things that don't need to be wasted, and everything can be stored away out of everyone's way and look nice and neat, because we want this to be a wow place in the garden. We don't want it looking like Steptoe and Son's yard with bags of stuff everywhere. That's another one I see, is open counter space with loads of bags and things stuffed in it. Looks terrible. So yeah, very important, dry zones. So next part is kitchen size and zone usage. So small outdoor kitchens will not need as many zones. No need for cold and wet. A medium-sized kitchen may only require 2 to 3 zones, and a large outdoor kitchen will have around 4 zones. Whatever the size, one of the most common mistakes is not incorporating any dry zones, as we just said. Failure to create dry zones means you will have insufficient space for landing cooked food, prepping raw foods, and general ease of accessibility and storage of essential utensils. So yeah, these are all rules of thumb. Kind of, you may require, none, or 2 to 3 or 4. But it's using common sense as well. But yeah, for obvious reasons, you need your zones. Right, better to scale up than down. So if you're looking to build something yourself, or even you're doing this for a client, it's better to go as much as you can afford, or as much as the client is willing to afford, because they're going to get a much better use out of it. So as it says here, dedicate as much space for each functional zone as possible. It's tempting to cut the zone space down to reduce cost, but you will also reduce the value and customer satisfaction. Be brave. Educate the customer to this and show them the value of prep space. Yeah, if you take the customer as well through to their interior kitchen, show them, talk to them about how they use it there, they'll suddenly go, oh yeah, bloody hell, yeah, I need this, that and the other to go through it. Because they may not necessarily had a outdoor kitchen before, they're just thinking about barbecuing, and just, showing off to their mates and having beers. But the reality of it is that they're going to be cooking, they're going to be entertaining. Try and educate them a little bit, and talk about the types of cooking that they like to do. It's a big help. So if your customer has just shelled out for an outdoor kitchen, they don't want to have to put food on the floor when they're cooking, because they don't have any prep space for serving. Very true. So here is a little diagram just to give you an idea of space, workflow and motion. So make sure you consider the relationship among the different zones for a variety of cooking and serving activities. So workflow. Do not allow major footfall traffic lanes to intersect the primary areas of functional zones. That's your motion. So yeah, so as you can see here, it's essentially try not to have everything bundled up in one place, because everyone's going to crash into each other. So you've got guests around there trying to get to the fridge, like we said before, and you're trying to cook or chop or do something else, and your wife's at the back trying to, you know, store away some things or take some cutlery and stuff out, yeah, and it's all bunched up in the same area, you're going to hit problems and you're not going to be happy with the workflow. So, passing space, next part. So this is an example here, so of passing space. So if you've got a parallel aisle, so that's two units where you've got a space that you can walk down the middle. If you've got one person cooking or a chef, if you're really lucky, or you or your go back. Sorry about that. So if you've got a single aisle and one chef, you're looking for 120 centimeters, 122 is a bit precise there, but something around that is good. If you've got two or more chefs, if you're really living life and you've got the big mansion in the hills, then you need to allow probably between 130 to 140 really. Again, don't get hung up on the exact centimeterage here, but it's just as a guide, all right? So if you're creating the passing space. Counter space. As we said before, the dry zone and especially counter space is the area that gets overlooked most often, yet it is vital to the success of the overall function of the design. The counter space can be broken down into 4 general categories. So you see there it says to the success of the overall function of the design. You know, if it's not successful, you're not going to have much fun. Your clients aren't going to come back or not going to refer you to their friends. And if you're building this for yourself, you're going to be upset about the whole thing. So it's vital that you do make allowances for this counter space. It's not as exciting as all the appliances and things, but it's vitally important for those appliances to work. So 4 general sizes of outdoor kitchens. You're going to come across these. Again, this is loosely termed, but it's these are kind of the 4 general that I come across most of the time, and rough sizes. So we're going to start off with there we go, the mini size. And again, all these pictures are all projects that we've worked on. So quite often includes just a grill and a bit of storage, really. These are quite common. A lot of people kind of look to do these. It's kind of the step up from having a trolley barbecue, really. So if someone's just, you know, first time doing up their garden and it's maybe a smallish house, you'll find that, you know, they want something that's a bit better than a trolley barbecue, but they haven't got super amounts of space to do it in, or perhaps they just may not have the budget, but they're really enthusiastic outdoor chefs or outdoor cooks. And the mini size is quite a common one that you'll come across and be approached about. So general rule of thumb, it needs to be at least 0.9 of a metre to 1 metre of usable countertop frontage is recommended. So, and no less than 0.6 metres deep. So you'll want around about at least a metre of usable space either side of this. Basic and functional, mini-size outdoor kitchens are usually located with nearby access to a main house, an interior kitchen. Yeah, so it's normally kind of supported by the main kitchen, so you don't have to worry about it too much. There's normally a door to the main kitchen nearby, so it purely just serves a space for an extra grill outside. Okay, small size. So now we're kind of into a classic outdoor kitchen here. Again, this is a run that we did for a show, so it's a stainless steel setup here, and these are all modular cabinets with granite tops and a drop-in barbecue, but this is kind of a common setup and run with an outdoor fridge and some storage space. So a small size normally includes a grill and storage, sometimes a sink and possibly a refrigerator. Around 4 metre total run, so it's probably the most common I come across is a 4 metre run. You want at least 1.25 metres to a metre of usable countertop frontage, and and the range and size of depth. Again, you won't come across anything narrower than 0.6 because you just won't find cabinets and stuff to fit it. To about 0.8 deep. So this is the entry level size outdoor kitchen for people who want something with good features on a lower budget. Medium size. So this is where we're starting to get serious now. So we've got a medium sized kitchen for me. Normally be a grill, lots of storage, a sink bar or caddy, refrigerator, additional power points, around a 5 metre run, at least 1.85 to 2 metres of usable countertop frontage is recommended. And again, yeah, the depths is always going to be pretty much the same with these. Most common size of an outdoor kitchen for customers who entertain more regularly for family and for friends. Yeah, so people are talking about parties a lot, and they have a lot of guests. You know, I've had some customers who have up to 50 plus guests over of an evening. You know, they're not gonna do too well on a 3-burner with, you know, a little bit of meter space of countertop. So, you know, you've got to find out how it is going to be used. And if you've got a lot of entertaining to do and you're thinking about doing this for yourself, then yeah, it's very important. You don't want to under allow for appliances and space. So yeah, the medium size is kind of 5 metre run. We're getting into serious entertaining here now. And you can see here, this is one we did for a client. And we've got a combination of gas barbecue. We've got a charcoal Primo grill, and also they've got a huge bar caddy and sink and an outdoor fridge. So, you know, it's really geared up to, you know, almost to light commercial capacity there. And then we move on to the large size. This is, you know, blow the budget. We're going for it in this one. This is again, this is a picture of one of our clients. I think I showed you earlier. This one, we're talking 60 odd thousand pounds worth of outdoor kitchen. Everything you see there is bespoke, handmade, or specialist order. And it's also got a roof system as well in there, so it's all year round. Large size includes all amenities and appliances, usually additional seating, split bars and islands. Yeah, so you'll get a lot of fancy layouts for this kind of size of kitchen. We'll talk a little bit about types and layout in a moment. But yeah, you'll find that this when you're in the large scale, this could also be commercial as well. So I'd imagine probably more people are doing something in their home. This is not likely, but if you're an architect or landscape gardener or a garden designer, this is going to be something you'll come across every now and again. And you know, it's exciting projects to work on to this scale, but there is a lot to be thought about. There's a lot of points that need to be considered with your client. So this is the most common size of outdoor kitchen for customers who entertain more regularly for family and friends. Well, I think I've copied that from the last slide. As I said, this is the mega all singing, all dancing thing, and could be used as a commercial outdoor kitchen. But yeah, they'll have at least 4 meters of usable space, and probably be in total over a 6 meter run, with split bars and islands. So the kitchen work triangle, yeah, that's right, a work triangle. So this is kind of borrowed from the interior kitchen world, and they talk about the work triangle. So this is a little explanation of what that is, and it is important as well. And it's going back to, if you remember earlier, we talked about workflow and passing space, etc. So the kitchen work triangle is a concept used to determine efficient kitchen layouts. The primary tasks, I can't even speak tonight. The primary tasks in a home kitchen are carried out between the cooktop, the sink and the refrigerator. So that would be in outdoor kitchens, that would be the barbecue, the sink or bar, and the fridge, the refrigerator. So very, very similar. These 3 points and the imaginary lines between them make up what kitchen experts call the work triangle. The idea is that when these 3 elements are in close but not too close proximity to one another, the kitchen will be easy and efficient to use, cutting down on wasted steps. So if all the kind of workflow stuff was confusing you earlier, and space and size and all that kind of thing, I like this because it's kind of an easy way to make sure that it's going to work out. Like it says there, not too close to each other, but if you kind of put your appliances in an outdoor kitchen to a similar effect to this work triangle, you're not going to go too far wrong. There are exceptions to this rule. In a single straight run kitchen, it's geometrically impossible to achieve a true triangle, but efficiency can still be achieved through the configuration of the 3 items and how far apart they are. So yeah, later on we're going to see a single run, and this work triangle, obviously if you've just got one line, you can't work in a triangle, but you can make it easier for your customers or clients when they're cooking by putting things in the right order. and having a system to it. So it's well worth thinking about. So here we go. These are these layout shapes we've been talking about. So these are the big 5 layout shapes. You're pretty much going to, I can't think of too many others that you come across other than these big 5. But yeah, they're definitely the main ones. Maybe let me know if you know of a different shape that you've had to do. It'd be interesting to hear about that. So yeah, there's the big 5. So we've got number 1 is straight run. Number 2 is the galley or parallel. Number 3 is an L shape. Number 4 is a U shape, and number 5 is the G shaped. My slides keep repeating themselves. Okay. So straight run. This is what we talked about earlier. This is the one where it's practically impossible to do the work triangle with this, but it is a simple solution for small spaces, typically used for mini or small size outdoor kitchen builds. So the pros of a straight run is most space saving layout. Yeah, you've not got returns and extra parts around the garden that are going to be jutting out or taking up space. So it is most space saving. But it's the least efficient layout, and it requires the cook to walk from one end to the other once they're doing their job. So yeah, and that's what we talked about. If we put things in a process that the cook can get to easily in the long run, rather than putting, like having the sink here and the barbecue right over here, this is the exception when you can run everything in a chain. So galley or parallel layout shape. So you may hear in interior kitchens galleys used quite a lot, or also parallel. It's the same with outdoor kitchens. So basically it includes all amenities and appliances, usually additional seating, split bars and islands, over 6 metre run total. And again, here's little recommendations that we talked about earlier. So yeah, it's parallel. It's 2 straight runs opposing each other, where your cook or chef is going to be standing in the middle, or you are, and you're going to be using either side. And sometimes, they not always exactly the same size. This can be like a little island, and this is fixed against the wall. I really like this style of outdoor kitchen. It's pretty practical, and it's also quite good for entertaining, because you can kind of have friends and people gathering around on this section, and you can kind of go to and fro and serving, and it's a bit more social. Problem with a straight run that we talked about in previous, straight run, you're normally facing the wall or this way, unless you've got it floating out in the middle of the garden. Most people have it built against the wall, so you've got your back to your guests. So I always recommend ways that you can either have this so that you can see across the other side and talk to people while you're cooking, or put in something like a parallel shape here, so you've got another island behind you. Just makes it all nice and social. And then you've got L shapes. That's our next shape. And you create it by joining 2 adjoining carcasses in an L shape. It's fairly straightforward. 45-degree corner, and quite often very, very popular. If you're an architect or garden designer, you'll get asked about pizza ovens, or as in the trade they're supposed to be called, a wood-fired oven, because they don't just cook pizzas. They're one of my favourite bits of kit in the garden, and it's actually the L shape is probably my favourite way of cooking with a pizza oven. And if you have a raised corner plinth as well, so it brings the oven up to eye level, it makes it far more practical for you to use the wood-fired oven, or for your clients to use it. So the pros and cons of an L-shaped layout: very flexible design, allowing appliances to be placed in a variety of locations. Efficient work triangle area. So yeah, do you remember earlier we were talking about the work triangle? It's very easy to achieve that with an L shape. It's ideal for large families or entertaining. It can be open to a table or nearby room, making it easy for the cook to interact with guests. Great space for wood-fired ovens, yeah, as we just said. So yeah, again, it's very social. It brings everyone into this area. It also, if you've got space the opposite side, again, you can be talking to people over the side, or you can have this against the wall and this side open. Very versatile. The downside to this layout, it's not well suited for small spaces. So yeah, again, you need a bit of space for this one. Then next up, we've got U-shape. So another versatile layout using 3 joined carcasses. The workstations can be spaced throughout to provide convenience and efficiency. So, pros and cons. Abundance of countertop storage and space. A dead-end design does not interrupt workspaces, and the layout is ideal for people who cook and entertain frequently. So yeah, if you check this out, it's, if you imagine, you can have all your appliances in corners, you have wood-fired oven, you have fridges, you can have outdoor dishwashers, you name it. U-shape will fit it all in. But it's not ideal for accommodating multiple cooks and chefs. And the reason being for that is because you kind of can get log jammed, and you've got to have quite a bit of space between the two units to get two people cooking each side or in this section. So you end up, it becomes a bit of a monster. So yeah, you need to be wary of having multiple cooks in that one. G-shaped. There's the original G, Snoop Dogg. Rubbish joke, I know. G-shaped kitchens, outdoor kitchens. So the G-shaped layout. Using 3 carcasses, the key difference to the addition of a U-shape, I think that's supposed to be, similar to a U-shape. I'll start again. Using 3 carcasses, the key difference is the addition of a peninsula or partial 4th carcass that includes additional cabinets and countertop bar space. So if you imagine a U-shape and then you add on the part of the G, a little return, and they can go internal even more. The great thing about it is plenty of storage. As you imagine, it's large, long, continuous countertops, and the ability to convert one-legged cabinets into a breakfast bar. So quite often either this end or this end, people want to turn into a nice breakfast bar. This layout can often accommodate multiple cooks in the kitchen because they can use this end here, allows for workflow around it, whereas you're not all stuck in here. And again, depending on what the space you've got to work with outside of that as well. So but lovely. If you've got the luxury of size and budget, G-shaped layout, that's the way to go. So that brings us on to our next section, which is landing areas. Okay, landing area recommendations. Ooh, ticks and crosses. So if you don't have enough landing area, and again, if you remember back to dry zones and wet zones and things, landing areas are very important as part of those zones, because if you don't leave enough countertop space, you're going to have great appliances, and then you're going to have nowhere to put the food, nowhere to put your accessories, and it's going to become very frustrating for you or your client if you're building it for someone else. And they're going to go, I wish you'd told me about this. And, you don't want to be in that situation. In the addition to general principle of allowing enough counter space overall, it's very important to provide decent landing space around the major appliances and features. Allow space for resting pots and pans, plates, utensils, chopping serving boards, etc. And also food, that needs to be, and space for raw and cooked food. Not enough landing space is the most common outdoor mistake. Use this picture here for that. You've been warned. So this is classic. This is someone who's got all the barbecues and all the kit, and they got 0 landing space because they've even put barbecues on their landing space that they do have. So it might look great to them, or you got all the gear and no idea, because where are you going to put everything? Once you start cooking, becomes a big problem. Guidelines are not a rule book. As all of this module that we're doing, it is a guideline, not a rule book. It's common sense. The following arrangements are recommended as a guide, and it's not a rule. If in doubt, use your common sense when working out the landing areas for your clients or your own outdoor kitchen. Make sure you get a good knowledge of how the owner likes to cook and the types of cooking they'll be doing. It's very important, that point. You kind of rush into, I find it's easy to do with clients, you kind of rush into materials and what you're going to make it out of, but spending some time to find out what they like doing, it might be someone who's very keen teppanyaki cook, or they might love doing low and slow barbecuing, or they might be really into just like parrilla grills and doing steaks and grilled meats, and each of those themes and styles of cooking has a very distinct way of prep, setup, and clean up of what you're going to be doing. So it's very important to take some time to find out what exactly it is they like to cook and what they like cooking, and familiarise yourself with those different styles. And if you're doing it for yourself, you're going to know because you're the chef. But make sure you bring that into light with the design that you're going to come up with. Don't let other people push you into a type of style of design because it's easy for them to build it. It should be a style and style of design that will work for your type of cooking. So find out how many people will be entertained at a given time, and if there's more than one cook. Yeah, we've explained that with workflows and passing and the different layout shapes. And all this information should be gathered before the design phase or design stage. So if you're like me, you're a consultant to people, get all this information before you start designing, because it's no more than a pain in the bum when you come back to it and you've got to redesign it all. It's a waste of everyone's time. So, approximate minimum landing areas for either side of an average grill barbecue unit. So if you're wondering, what space should I allow for a barbecue? The space of your barbecue, the cutout for it to go into the work surface, if we're talking about a barbecue grill. And then you want to add 30 centimetre of workspace on one side and 60 centimetres on the other. So it's kind of raw cooking area and cooked foods. This is a basic workflow and space calculation for that. So 30-60 would be for the average. Again, you can go more or less, but this is just a rule of thumb, just saying given a bit this side and a bit more that side. For a side burner, an example here, if you've got side burners, you want 30 centimetres each side. And then if you've got a side burner and grill, you want to put 60 one side and 30 the other. 45 for sinks is normally an even split, so you've got sink 45 each side. Wood-fired oven is very much like a grill, 60 and 30. And again here for a beer tap or beer pump, when we've done those before, 30 centimetres each side is good for glasses, and or for just collapsing blind drunk, just next to it, 30 centimetres, nice space to just plop your head there. Okay. Approximate minimum landing areas for under-counter refrigerators, 38 centimetres. Again, this is all depends on the width and the size of your fridge as well. It's entirely up to the size of the unit you're using. Working out combined landing areas between workstations. So the minimum landing areas between two pieces of equipment may be determined by adding 50% to the largest landing area, with the recommendation of the two appliances. So basically, if you're thinking, oh yeah, we've got a side burner and thing and grill and we've got a sink, how are we going to work out what the space should be in between? It's 30 centimetres one side plus 50%. So U equals 45. So that gives you a rule of thumb when you're trying to measure out these kind of spaces between appliances. So again, it's just recommendation. If you've only got 40 centimetres to play with, then I don't think it's going to be the end of the world if you lose 5 centimetres. But it just gives a nice aesthetic feel as well as a practical and what we're talking about, functional layout. Storage space. This is another biggie. Storage space. Outdoor kitchens usually need less storage space than their interior kitchen cousins. Most of the cutlery, crockery, etc. will be stored in the house and brought out when needed. The main items that need to be stored in the outdoor kitchen all year tend to be barbecue specific items like charcoal, wood chips, logs, gas cylinders, tongs, chimney starters, etc. Yeah, so exactly like that says, majority of your clients are going to have the main bulk of what they're going to be using in the interior kitchen, but there is a lot of barbecue specific items that we need to store away. So you won't need banks and banks of cupboards like you get in an interior kitchen, but you will need quite a bit of storage. So working out overall storage cabinet space, this again is a little rule of thumb that you can use. You can use the 4 basic outdoor kitchen size categories described previously for working out a general rule of thumb for storage. So with a mini size one, at least 53 centimetres linear storage, small around 90, medium around 1.8 to 2 metres, and then a large one at least 2.5 metres of linear storage for cabinets, all right? So that's just working out the length of the frontage of your carcass. You just apply that to it. So seating space. Seating space, width for seats are an important part of the equation when designing your layout. You will need to allow appropriate room for guests, or traffic as they're sometimes referred to, manoeuvring around and behind seats. You also need to work out knee space when designing table, bar, counters. So yeah, we're kind of in island realm here, and kind of breakfast bars and that kind of thing. And you will get asked that, and perhaps you're thinking of building one into your build. And it's an important part to know what to allow. So again, this is a kind of rule of thumb. But for normal use, allow 60 centimetres seating clearance, and for large outdoor kitchens, allow 75 to 90. So this is your traffic clearance, this is your seating clearances side by side. No traffic behind seats, allow 80 centimetres counter, table or bar to the nearest obstruction. For people to edge past behind seats, allow at least 92. For people to walk past unobstructed, allow a minimum of 1.2. Okay, so straightforward. Let me know if you've got any questions. Give me a shout. I don't know if I've explained that in the best possible way, but hopefully you get the idea. Knee space for counter and bar seating. This can be tricky, especially depending on what size stools you might have sourced for them. Sometimes clients will have their own stools and things, so you've got to be wary of the sizes that you're using this. But just for a rule of thumb, again, this is not gospel. This is all down to your design. But you can give a table height of 76 centimetres. You want about 45 centimetres knee space. If you've got a counter level, which is most of the outdoor kitchens we do at 90% are at 900 or 90 centimetres. So you need about 38 centimetres of knee space. Or if you've got raised bars or countertops, it all depends. I think we've got 30 centimetre there, but I think we need a bit more. So yeah, but of course, increasing the height, you're going to have more room to play with underneath. So it depends on your bar stools. Let's just give you a little bit of an idea there. So that was the end of that module. If you've got any further questions or you'd like to know more about the design and build of outdoor kitchens, please get in touch. Like I said before, that's my LinkedIn profile. So if you're on LinkedIn, please connect up with me and I'm happy to talk. Or you can email me direct, scottandrewpatterson@gmail.com. Maybe there's something in particular, a module course on outdoor kitchens you'd like to see next. I'm going to make a couple more and get into some of the more obvious stuff about build materials, that kind of thing. But let me know your thoughts, whether you enjoyed this. I hope I didn't ramble too much, and whether you'd like me to make some more. So yeah, and I wish you all the best of luck with if either you're doing an outdoor kitchen for your client or it's something you're doing for yourself for your own home build. I wish you all the best, and like I say, please do get in touch. I'm happy to answer to the best of my ability any questions you might have, and I hope to make some more of these for you guys in the future. So hope you liked it, and I'll now let you get on with whatever it is you've got to do, and I'll speak to you soon. Thank you.